Captain Lee Daho stood on the bridge of the UES Determination, watching the stars through the main screen. His ship moved slowly through space near the outer rim, far from Earth. The bridge was quiet except for the soft sounds of computers working. Lee had been a captain for 10 years, but he still felt proud when he looked at his ship and crew. The communication system made a sound. "Captain, we have a message from Council Headquarters," said Commander Choi Min-ji from her station. She was the ship's intelligence officer and one of Lee's most trusted crew members. "Put it on screen," Lee said. He turned to face the large display at the front of the bridge. The screen showed Ambassador Han Jae-wook, Earth's main representative to the Galactic Council. Han looked tired and worried. His usually neat appearance was messy and his eyes showed fear. "Captain Lee, I need to speak with you right away." "This is very important," Han said. His voice was shaking a little. "What's wrong, Ambassador?" Lee asked. He had known Han for many years and had never seen him look so upset. "The Council has made a decision about humanity. They are calling it the final resolution. Lee, they want to end our independence. They say we are too dangerous to exist as we are." Lee felt his heart beat faster. "What exactly are they demanding?" Han took a deep breath. 4 things. First, Earth must stop all space exploration immediately. No more new colonies, no more expansion. Second, we must give them 80% of our military ships. Third, they want us to change our DNA to make humans less aggressive. And fourth, Han stopped talking for a moment. They want us to move 2 billion people to work camps on other planets. The bridge became very quiet. Lee could hear his crew breathing. Commander Choi turned pale. The other officers looked shocked. "How long do we have?" Lee asked. 30 days. If we don't agree, they will force us to comply." Han's image flickered on the screen. "Lee, I've seen the military plans. They have over 2,000 ships ready to attack Earth if we refuse." Lee closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, his face was hard. "Ambassador, has the Council ever made demands like this before?" "Not exactly like this, but I've been looking at old records. Dr. Kim Taemin helped me access some classified files. Lee, this isn't the first time. The Council has done this to other species. The Kelthari, the Vron, the Hegemonites, all of them face similar ultimatums." "What happened to those species?" Lee asked, though he already knew the answer. "They're gone. The Council says they were relocated or chose to join the greater galactic community, but there are no records of them anywhere. No colonies, no survivors, nothing." Commander Choi stood up from her station. "Captain, we need to contact Admiral Park So-jin immediately." Lee nodded. Admiral Park So-jin was Earth's highest-ranking officer in the Council fleet. She commanded 300 human ships spread across dozens of star systems. If anyone could organize a response, it would be her. "Get me Admiral Park on a secure channel," Lee ordered. While they waited for the connection, Lee thought about his crew. They were good people who had joined the space service to explore and protect. They had families on Earth and colonies throughout human space. The Council wanted to destroy everything they had built. The screen changed to show Admiral Park So-jin. She was on the bridge of her flagship, the UES Liberty. Park was a small woman, but everyone in the fleet respected her. She had fought in border conflicts and had never lost a battle. "Captain Lee, I've just received the same information from Ambassador Han. I've been thinking about our options for the past hour." Park's voice was calm, but Lee could see anger in her eyes. "What are your orders, Admiral?" Lee asked. "I'm sending encoded messages to all human ships. We're going to gather at coordinates I'll send you separately. Tell your crew that we're conducting emergency exercises. Don't mention the Council's ultimatum yet." "Admiral, are we really going to fight the entire Galactic Council?" Commander Choi asked. Park was quiet for a moment. "Commander, my grandmother used to tell me stories about old Earth. She said there was once a time when people fought wars to stay free. They faced impossible odds, but they fought anyway because some things are worth dying for." Lee understood. "When do we leave?" "In 6 hours. Lee, this will be the last time humans take orders from anyone else. After today, we make our own choices." The communication ended. Lee turned to his crew. They were all looking at him, waiting for orders. These people had served with him for years. They trusted him to lead them through whatever came next. "Attention all hands," Lee said into the ship's communication system. "This is the captain. In 6 hours, we will begin the most important mission in human history. We are going to prove that humanity will never bow to anyone. We choose our own path among the stars." As the Determination changed course and headed toward the meeting point, Lee watched the stars again. Somewhere out there, Admiral Park was sending the same message to hundreds of other human ships. For 50 years, humanity had served the Council faithfully. They had followed orders, paid tribute, and accepted their place as junior members of galactic society. That time was over. The Council had made a mistake when they thought humans would simply accept slavery. They were about to learn what happened when you tried to chain a species that valued freedom above everything else. Lee smiled grimly as his ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. The Council wanted to end humanity's independence. Instead, they had just started a war they could never win. 6 months had passed since the human fleet disappeared from Council space. The Kepler void was a dangerous place where few species dared to travel. Strange energy storms moved through the area, and the laws of physics seemed different here. It was the perfect hiding place for 300 human ships and their crews. Admiral Park So-jin stood in the command center of the temporary base they had built on a large asteroid. Through the windows, she could see the human fleet spread out across space. The ships looked small against the swirling colors of the quantum storms that filled the void. "Admiral, we have another problem," said General Nam Hyun-soo as he entered the command center. The general was responsible for all ground forces in the fleet. He was a big man with gray hair and tired eyes. "What is it this time?" Park asked. She had been dealing with problems all day. Food shortages, equipment failures, and fights between crew members were becoming common. 3 more ships are asking permission to return to Council space. Their captains say the conditions here are too hard. They want to negotiate with the Council and hope for mercy. Park closed her eyes and rubbed her forehead. She understood why some people wanted to go back. Life in the void was difficult. Families had been separated when the fleet scattered. Some children were on different ships from their parents. Food was carefully rationed and everyone lived in cramped quarters. "How many ships does that make total?" Park asked. 17 ships have requested permission to leave. That's about 2,000 people. Park nodded slowly. She had expected this. Not everyone was ready to give up everything to stay free. Let them go if they want to, but make sure they understand what they're choosing. General Nam looked surprised. "Admiral, if we let people leave, others might follow." "We could lose half the fleet. General, we're not the Council. We don't force people to stay. If someone wants to return to slavery, that's their choice. But I think most of our people understand what's really at stake here." Before Nam could respond, Engineer Yang Woo-seok ran into the command center. Yang was young and always excited about his work. He had been leading a team that was trying to improve their ships using technology they had salvaged from battles. "Admiral, you need to see this right away." Yang was breathing hard and his eyes were bright with excitement. "What have you found?" Park asked. Captain Kang Series scout ship just returned from the deep void. She found something amazing. "Ships, Admiral. Huge ships that have been floating out there for thousands of years." Park felt her heart beat faster. "Show me." Yang activated a holographic display in the center of the room. The image showed massive vessels, each one larger than any ship in the human fleet. They were dark and silent, floating in formation around a dead star. "We think they belong to the predecessors," Yang continued, "the species that lived in this galaxy before the Council took over. Dr. Shin Yu-jin has been studying the energy readings. These ships use technology we've never seen before." General Nam stepped closer to the display. "Are they dangerous?" "We don't think so. They appear to be completely dead. But Admiral, if we could study them, learn from them..." Yang's voice trailed off. Park stared at the image. The predecessors were almost a myth. Most species believed they had simply died out naturally. The Council claimed they had never existed at all. But here was proof that an advanced civilization had once filled this galaxy. "How long would it take to reach them?" Park asked. "Captain Kang says about 3 days using the quantum storms for faster travel. Dr. Shin figured out how to ride the energy waves instead of fighting them." Park made her decision quickly. "Yang, I want you to pick your best team. We're going to investigate those ships. If the predecessors left behind technology that could help us, we need to find it." 3 days later, Park stood in the airlock of the UES Determination as it docked with one of the predecessor vessels. Captain Lee Dae-ho had volunteered to lead the exploration team. Dr. Kim Tae-min was with them, along with Yang and several other specialists. The predecessor ship was enormous. Its corridors were wide enough for 10 people to walk side by side. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing with a soft blue light. The air was clean and breathable, which surprised everyone. The ship's systems are still working after all this time, Dr. Kim said as he scanned the walls with his equipment. The technology is incredible. It's like the ship is alive. They walked deeper into the vessel until they reached what appeared to be the bridge. It was a circular room with a raised platform in the center. When Dr. Kim stepped onto the platform, the room suddenly filled with light and sound. Images appeared in the air around them. They showed the galaxy as it had been thousands of years ago. Instead of the 12 council species, there were hundreds of different civilizations. The galaxy was full of life and activity. Then the images changed. They showed council ships attacking peaceful worlds, species being enslaved or destroyed, entire star systems being emptied of life. The images told a story of conquest and genocide that had lasted for millennia. "My God," whispered Captain Lee. "The council has been doing this for thousands of years." The final images showed the predecessors themselves. They were tall, graceful beings with silver skin and large eyes. As the council's attacks grew stronger, the predecessors made a choice. Rather than submit, they gathered their remaining ships and disappeared into the void. A voice spoke in perfect human language. "If you are seeing this message, then our final hope has been fulfilled. Another species has chosen freedom over slavery. We are the predecessors and we offer you our knowledge." The voice explained that the predecessors had spent their final years preparing for this moment. They had built ships filled with advanced technology and hidden them throughout the galaxy. They had recorded their history and science, waiting for a species brave enough to use it. "Our ships can merge with your technology," the voice continued. "They will make your vessels faster, stronger, and more adaptable. But this knowledge comes with a warning. The Council will never stop hunting you. They fear what you might become." When the message ended, the room became quiet. Park looked around at her team. Everyone understood what this meant. They had found exactly what they needed to fight back against the Council. "Yang," Park said quietly, "how long would it take to modify our ships using this technology?" Yang was studying the data that had downloaded into his scanner. "If we work around the clock, maybe 2 years. But Admiral, the possibilities are incredible. These ships can do things that shouldn't be possible." Park nodded. She thought about the 17 ships that had returned to Council space. Those people had chosen safety over freedom, but the people who stayed had just been given the tools to change the galaxy forever. "Send a message to all ships," Park ordered. "Tell them we've found our answer. The Council thinks they've seen the worst humanity can do. They have no idea what's coming." As the team prepared to return to their ship, Park took one last look around the predecessor bridge. These beings had faced the same choice humanity now faced. They had chosen to fight, and even though they had lost, they had left behind hope for the future. The Council had made a mistake when they forced humanity into exile. They had given humans time to grow stronger and find allies they never knew existed. Soon the galaxy would see what happened when human determination met predecessor technology. The war was about to begin. 2 years had changed everything. The asteroid base in the Kepler void had grown into a massive shipyard. Humans worked in shifts around the clock, building vessels that combined their own engineering with predecessor technology. The result was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Master Technician Lee Sunmi floated in zero gravity inside the hull of a new destroyer. Sparks flew from her welding tools as she connected human neural networks to predecessor quantum computers. The work was delicate and dangerous, but Lee had become an expert at merging the two technologies. "How does it feel?" she asked Commander Park Jin-woo, who was lying on a medical table with cables connected to his head. Park was the test pilot for the new hybrid ships. His mind was linked directly to the ship's systems, allowing him to control the vessel through thought alone. "It's incredible," he said. "I can feel every part of the ship. The engines, the weapons, the shields. It's like the ship is part of my body." The new destroyers were revolutionary. They could change shape during battle, shift through solid matter, and coordinate their actions with other ships through quantum communication. A single hybrid vessel could outfight 10 traditional council ships. Dr. Shin Yu-jin worked nearby, adjusting the ship's energy systems. She had discovered how to draw power directly from stars and quantum storms. This meant the human fleet would never run out of energy, no matter how long a battle lasted. "Lee, we need to test the phase shift system," Dr. Shin called out. "Park, are you ready?" Commander Park nodded. Through his neural link, he commanded the ship to activate its phase shift drive. The destroyer began to flicker, becoming translucent. Within seconds, it had passed completely through the asteroid they were docked to. Perfect, Lee said with satisfaction. The Council's shields won't be able to stop ships that can phase through solid matter. The success of the destroyer project had energized the entire fleet. But not everyone was happy with the changes humanity was making. Admiral Yoon Dong-hyun had arrived 6 months ago with 50 ships that had defected from the Council fleet. He brought valuable intelligence about Council military capabilities, but he also brought doubts about humanity's new direction. We're losing what makes us human, Yoon argued during a meeting in the main command center. He was speaking to Admiral Park Seo-jin and the other fleet commanders. These neural links, these ships that respond to thoughts instead of commands, we're becoming something else. Admiral Park listened patiently. She respected Yoon's experience, but she disagreed with his concerns. Admiral Yoon, the Council forced us to evolve. We can either become something greater than we were, or we can remain weak and be destroyed. But at what cost? Yoon demanded. Our pilots are starting to think more like machines than humans. Some of them spend more time connected to their ships than talking to other people. Engineer Yang Woo-seok, who had been quiet during the discussion, finally spoke up. Admiral Yoon, I understand your concerns. But we're not becoming machines. We're becoming something new. The predecessors faced the same choice we face now. They chose to evolve, and their technology survived even after they were gone. The argument was interrupted when Captain Kang Si-ri's voice came through the communication system. All senior officers to the command center immediately. We have a problem. Captain Kang had been leading long-range reconnaissance missions throughout the galaxy. Her scout ships were equipped with the most advanced stealth technology available. She had been monitoring Council activities to give the human fleet advance warning of any threats. What have you found? Admiral Park asked when Kang appeared on the main screen. A Council fleet has discovered New Haven, Kang reported. New Haven was the habitable planet where many human families had been relocated for safety. 3 Council destroyers jumped into the system 2 hours ago. They're scanning the planet and sending reports back to Council headquarters. The command center became very quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. The Council now knew where humanity had been hiding. They would be coming with overwhelming force. How long before they attack? General Nam Hyun-soo asked. Based on Council military doctrine, I estimate we have 72 hours before the main assault begins, Kang replied. They'll want to gather intelligence first, then coordinate a massive strike. Admiral Park made her decision quickly. All ships are to prepare for immediate departure. Young, how many hybrid vessels are ready for combat? 68 destroyers and 12 heavy cruisers, Yang answered. The neural interface systems are fully functional on all of them. That's not enough, Admiral Yoon said. Intelligence reports indicate the Council will send at least 500 ships. Even with our technological advantages, we'll be outnumbered 7-1. Commander Park Jin-woo, still connected to his test ship through neural links, suddenly spoke up. Admiral, I have an idea. The phase shift technology doesn't just work on our ships. We can use it to move through Council formations without being detected. Dr. Shin Yu-jin nodded excitedly. He's right. If we coordinate our attacks properly, we can strike from inside their fleet formations. Their own ships will provide cover for us. Admiral Park studied the tactical displays showing Council ship movements. The enemy was following standard military procedures which made them predictable. Human ships that could appear anywhere without warning would completely disrupt their battle plans. Admiral Yoon, I need you to take command of our conventional forces, Park said. Use traditional tactics to draw the Council fleet into position. Make them think they're fighting the same humans they've always known. Yoon looked skeptical but nodded. And the hybrid ships? They'll be the surprise. Commander Park, I want you to select the best neural-linked pilots. We're going to show the Council what humanity has become. As the fleet prepared for departure, Lee Sun-mi made final adjustments to the hybrid ships. Each vessel was a work of art that combined human creativity with predecessor science. The ships could think for themselves, respond to their pilots' emotions, and adapt to any situation. The test came sooner than expected. A Council patrol found the fleet as they were leaving the Kepler void. 6 enemy vessels appeared on sensors, demanding that the human ships surrender immediately. This is your chance to prove the hybrid technology works, Admiral Park told Commander Park Jin-woo. Show us what one of our new ships can do. Park's destroyer engaged the Council patrol while the rest of the fleet watched. The human ship moved like a living creature, flowing around enemy fire and striking from impossible angles. Within minutes, all 6 council ships had been destroyed without landing a single hit on the destroyer. "My God," whispered Admiral Yoon. "I've never seen anything like that." Admiral Park smiled grimly. "Admiral, that was just one ship. Imagine what 100 of them can do working together." As the human fleet jumped to faster than light speed, heading toward the inevitable confrontation with the Council's main force, Park thought about how far they had come. 2 years ago, they had been refugees running from an enemy they couldn't hope to defeat. Now they were something the galaxy had never seen before. The Council thought they were hunting the same weak humans who had fled into exile. They were about to discover their mistake. Humanity had found the tools left behind by an ancient enemy of the Council, and they had made those tools their own. The war for galactic freedom was about to begin, and this time humanity would not be the ones running away. The largest military force in galactic history assembled in the Centauri staging area. 5,000 ships from 12 different species floated in perfect formation, their hulls reflecting the light of nearby stars. This was the Council's answer to the human rebellion. High Admiral Kwon Jae-sung stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the enemy fleet through long-range sensors. His ship was hidden behind a gas giant, using advanced stealth technology to observe without being detected. What he saw made his blood run cold. "How many ships are we looking at?" asked Captain Song Han-yul, his intelligence officer. Song had been conducting reconnaissance missions deep in Council space for months, gathering information about enemy capabilities. "Computer analysis shows 5,247 vessels," Kwon replied. "Everything from Viridian dreadnoughts to Nixari quantum destroyers. They're not taking any chances this time." The Council fleet was impressive. Ancient Viridian warships, each one capable of destroying entire planets. Sleek Nixari vessels that could manipulate space and time. Bioships from the Synthesis Collective that could heal from damage and adapt to new weapons. Representatives from every major military power in the galaxy. "Admiral, I'm detecting something else," said Commander Ryu Seo-jun from his tactical station. Ryu was an expert on Council military doctrine and had been analyzing their formation patterns. "They're not just planning to fight us. This looks like an extermination fleet." Kwon nodded grimly. The intelligence reports had been clear. The Council was no longer interested in forcing humanity to surrender. They wanted to eliminate every human in the galaxy as an example to other species who might consider rebellion. Dr. Oh Kyung-ho entered the bridge carrying a data pad filled with psychological profiles. "Admiral, I've completed my analysis of the Council leadership. They're afraid. This massive fleet isn't just about destroying us. It's about proving to their own people that the Council is still in control." "Explain," Kwon said. "The human rebellion has inspired other species. 3 Council member worlds have declared independence in the past month. The Cathara have stopped paying tribute. Even some Viridian colonies are questioning Council authority. They need to make an example of us to prevent a general uprising." This information gave Kwon an idea. If the Council was worried about other rebellions, they might be vulnerable to psychological warfare. "Dr. Oh, I want you to begin Operation Whisper immediately." Operation Whisper was designed to sow doubt and suspicion among Council forces. Human ships would broadcast false communications, suggesting that different species were planning to betray each other. They would spread rumors about secret weapons and hidden agendas. Captain Song returned from her latest reconnaissance mission with disturbing news. "Admiral, the Council has activated the predecessor containment protocol. They're using weapons I've never seen before." "What kind of weapons?" Kwon asked. "Planet killers. Devices that can crack worlds and ignite stars. According to the intelligence I gathered, these weapons were originally built to destroy the predecessors. The Council has kept them secret for thousands of years." The bridge became very quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. The Council wasn't just planning to defeat humanity. They were planning to destroy every world humans had ever touched. "How many of these weapons do they have?" Commander Ryu asked. "At least 12, possibly more. Each one is mounted on a massive command ship at the center of the fleet." Song's voice was grim. "Admiral, if they use these weapons on Earth..." Kwon didn't let her finish. "They won't get the chance. Commander Ryu, I want you to analyze their fleet formation. Find me their weaknesses." Ryu studied the tactical displays for several minutes. "Sir, they're using standard Council doctrine. Multiple layers of defense with the most powerful ships at the center. It's designed to prevent exactly the kind of breakthrough attack we would need to reach the planet killers. What about their communication systems? Quan asked. Heavily protected, but they rely on quantum entanglement networks. If we could disrupt those networks... Ryu paused as he realized what the Admiral was thinking. Sir, are you planning to attack their command structure? I'm planning to do something they won't expect. Dr. O, how quickly can you modify our psychological warfare programs? What do you have in mind? Dr. O asked. Instead of just spreading rumors, I want you to hack into their command networks. Make each species think the others are about to attack them. If we can turn this fleet against itself... The plan was risky, but it was their only hope. 800 human ships could not defeat 5,000 Council vessels in a direct battle. But if the Council fleet destroyed itself through internal conflict, humanity might have a chance. Over the next 48 hours, human ships began their campaign of deception. Stealth vessels infiltrated Council communication networks. False messages were inserted into command channels. Carefully crafted intelligence reports suggested that the Viridians were planning to seize control of the fleet, or that the Nexari had secret orders to eliminate other species' ships. The psychological campaign worked better than anyone had hoped. Tensions between Council species began to rise. Ships started changing their formations, keeping weapons trained on their supposed allies instead of watching for human attacks. Captain Song led a daring raid on a Council supply depot, her ships appearing out of nowhere and disappearing before the enemy could respond. The attack wasn't meant to cause significant damage. It was meant to demonstrate that human ships could strike anywhere, anytime. The Council commanders are starting to panic, Dr. O reported. Intercepted communications show they're arguing about how humans are able to appear inside their formations without being detected. Admiral Quan smiled. The phase shift technology was working exactly as planned. Council sensors couldn't track ships that existed partially outside normal space. To the enemy, human vessels seemed to materialize from nothing. The first major battle occurred near the Rigel system. A Council patrol of 50 ships encountered a human task force led by Commander Park Jin-woo. The engagement lasted only 20 minutes, but the results were devastating for the Council. Human ships phased through enemy formations, attacking from within. Council vessels found their own weapon systems turning against them as human quantum viruses infected their computers. When the battle ended, 47 Council ships had been destroyed or captured. The humans lost only 2 vessels. This is impossible, transmitted the surviving Council commander before his ship was destroyed. How are they doing this? News of the defeat spread quickly through the Council fleet. Morale began to collapse as commanders realized they were facing an enemy unlike anything they had encountered before. Some ships began requesting permission to withdraw. Others accused their allies of providing humans with advanced technology. The breaking point came when the Viridian flagship Eternal Dominion suffered a coordinated attack by 12 human destroyers. The massive dreadnought Pride of the Viridian fleet was infiltrated by ships that phased through its armor. The attack came from inside the ship's own corridors, where defenses were weakest. When the Eternal Dominion exploded, taking 3,000 Viridian warriors with it, panic spread through the Council fleet. The Viridians accused the Nexari of betrayal. The Nexari blamed the Synthesis Collective. Ancient rivalries and suspicions erupted into open conflict. Admiral Quan watched from his hidden position as the Council fleet began to tear itself apart. Ships that had been allies for centuries opened fire on each other. The careful formation dissolved into chaos as each species tried to protect itself from enemies both real and imagined. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Council's Supreme Commander, Captain Song reported. The main screen showed the ancient Viridian Elder Thronekeeper aboard his command ship. The being was thousands of years old, and his voice carried the weight of ages. Humans of Earth, he said, you have proven more resourceful than we anticipated, but this ends now. The Elder gestured, and behind him massive weapons began to charge. The planet killers were being prepared for use. Surrender immediately or we will begin destroying human worlds one by one. Starting with Earth itself. Admiral Quan opened a response channel. His image appeared on screens throughout the Council fleet, transmitted on all frequencies. Every ship in both fleets could see and hear him. Elder Thronekeeper, Quan said calmly. You made a mistake when you tried to enslave humanity. You made a bigger mistake when you forced us into exile. But your greatest mistake was thinking we would ever surrender our freedom. Quan paused, letting his words sink in. Around him on the bridge, his crew stood ready for the final battle. In the distance, he could see Admiral Park Seo-jin's main fleet approaching at maximum speed. 1,000 human ships, each one equipped with technology the Council couldn't understand or counter. "We are no longer the species you tried to chain," Quan continued. "We have become something you cannot defeat. And now, Elder, you will learn what happens when you threaten everything we hold dear." The transmission ended. Across space, human ships decloaked and began their attack. The Council's worst nightmare was about to become reality. 1,000 ships emerged from quantum space like ghosts becoming real. The human fleet materialized around the Council's forces in perfect coordination, each vessel appearing exactly where it needed to be. This was no longer the ragtag group of refugees that had fled into exile 3 years ago. This was something new. Fleet Admiral Kim Young-ho stood on the bridge of the flagship UES Defiance, watching as his battle groups took their positions. The ship around him hummed with power drawn from distant stars. Every surface displayed tactical information fed directly into his mind through neural links. "All battle groups report ready," announced Captain Lee Yoonbi from her station. As his tactical coordinator, she was linked to every ship in the fleet through quantum communication networks. Her consciousness touched each vessel, feeling their readiness like a pulse in her blood. "Admiral Choi Hai-wan reports the Vanguard is in position," added tactical coordinator Han Min-sik. Through his enhanced awareness, he could see the entire battlefield as if it were a three-dimensional map in his mind. Every ship, every weapon, every movement was part of a pattern he controlled. Kim nodded. The human fleet had divided into 7 battle groups, each targeting a different section of the Council forces. This wasn't just warfare. This was a demonstration that humanity had transcended every limitation the galaxy had ever placed on them. The Council fleet tried to respond to the human arrival, but their formations were already in chaos from the psychological warfare campaign. Ships fired on their own allies while trying to target the new threat. Ancient rivalries exploded into violence as species blamed each other for the human breakthrough. "Begin the conversion protocol," Kim ordered. Admiral Choi Hai-wan's Vanguard struck first. Her ships didn't just attack Council vessels. They transformed them. Quantum viruses spread through enemy computer systems, rewriting their programming in real time. Council ships found their own weapons turning against their allies as human code took control. The Nexari destroyer Void Render fired its quantum cannons at a human cruiser. The beams passed harmlessly through the human ship's phase-shifted hull and struck a Viridian battleship instead. As the Viridian ship exploded, both fleets watched in horror and amazement. "How are they doing this?" screamed a Council commander over the communication channels. "Our weapons can't touch them." Captain Lee Yoonbi smiled as she watched the tactical display. "Because we're not fighting like they expect us to fight. We're not even fighting like we used to fight." The human way of war had evolved beyond anything the galaxy had seen. Ships that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, weapons that rewrote reality at the quantum level, pilots whose minds were linked not just to their vessels but to each other, creating a collective intelligence that could process information faster than any computer. The Synthesis Collective tried to adapt to the human attacks using their bioship's natural evolution abilities. But the human quantum viruses adapted faster, turning the bioship's own evolution against them. Within minutes, an entire collective squadron was fighting under human control. "Admiral, the Council is activating their planet killers," warned Han Min-sik. Through the quantum network, he could sense the massive weapons charging their deadly energy. Kim had expected this. The Council's ancient weapons were powerful enough to destroy stars, but they required specific conditions to function properly. The chaotic battle around them made precise targeting impossible. "Battle Group 7, execute Prometheus Protocol," Kim ordered. Captain Lee Dae-ho led Battle Group 7 in a desperate attack on the Council's command ships. His quantum destroyer, the UES Prometheus, phased directly through the hull of the Elder Throne Keeper's massive vessel. The battle that followed took place in both normal space and quantum dimensions. Inside the Council command ship, Lee fought his way toward the planet killer controls. The corridors were filled with automated defenses and alien warriors, but his enhanced reflexes and quantum-enhanced weapons carved a path through every obstacle. The Elder Throne Keeper waited for him in the weapon control chamber. The ancient Viridian was over 4,000 years old. his body kept alive by advanced technology. "Human," he said in a voice like grinding stone, "you cannot stop what has already begun. The planet killers will fire and your species will be erased from existence." "Maybe," Lee replied, raising his weapon, "but you won't be alive to see it." The battle between Lee and the Elder raged across multiple dimensions. Energy beams tore through space-time itself. Reality warped and twisted around them as they fought with technologies that could reshape the laws of physics. Meanwhile, the space battle continued. Human ships danced between council formations like deadly spirits. Every attack was coordinated through the quantum network. Every movement was part of a larger pattern that the council couldn't understand or predict. Admiral Park So-jin, commanding from her flagship Liberation, watched as her forces systematically dismantled the largest fleet in galactic history. "All ships, prepare for final phase," she transmitted. "Show them what freedom looks like." The final phase was overwhelming. Human ships attacked from every direction simultaneously. They phased through solid matter, appeared inside enemy formations, and struck with weapons that the Council had no defense against. Ship after ship fell to the human assault. The turning point came when the planet killer weapons malfunctioned. Lee's sabotage of the control systems caused the massive weapons to overload. Instead of destroying human worlds, they began tearing apart the Council's own command ships. "This is impossible," transmitted the Nexari fleet commander as his ships began to retreat. "They're using our own weapons against us." "Not impossible," replied Fleet Admiral Kim over the open channel. "Just unexpected. You spent so long thinking you were superior that you forgot other species could grow and change." The Council fleet began to break apart. Some ships surrendered immediately. Others tried to escape but found their retreat routes blocked by human vessels. A few continued fighting, but their resistance only delayed the inevitable. The final battle took place around the Council's primary world, Viridian Prime. The planet's orbital defenses had been thought impregnable for thousands of years. Human ships proved that assumption wrong in less than an hour. As the last Council defenders fell silent, Fleet Admiral Kim opened a communication channel to the entire galaxy. His message was broadcast on every frequency, reaching every inhabited world. "People of the galaxy," he began, "the Galactic Council is dissolved. For too long, a few species have dominated the many. They have enslaved worlds, destroyed civilizations, and claimed the right to decide who lives and who dies." Kim paused, letting his words reach across the stars. On 1,000 worlds, beings who had lived under Council rule listened in amazement and hope. That age is over. Each species will now govern itself without interference from others. No more tribute. No more forced relocations. No more ultimatums. The galaxy is free. But freedom came with responsibility. Human ships took up patrol routes throughout galactic space, not as conquerors but as guardians. Any attempt to rebuild the Council or threaten independent worlds would be met with the full force of the Earth Defense Force. Years later, Ambassador Han Jae-wook stood in the assembly hall of the First Galactic Assembly. Representatives from dozens of species sat together as equals, debating and cooperating instead of obeying the commands of distant masters. The Assembly's first meeting took place aboard a human vessel, with Earth's flag flying alongside those of former enemies who had learned to respect humanity's determination to remain free. The Viridians, humbled by defeat, had become valuable allies. The Nexari contributed their scientific knowledge to peaceful projects. Even the Synthesis Collective had found new purpose in healing rather than war. Captain Lee Dae-ho, now an admiral, stood on the bridge of his patrol ship as it moved along the borders of known space. The quantum storms of the Kepler void had been tamed and turned into highways for peaceful travel. The predecessor ships had been converted into research stations where scientists from all species worked together, but Lee never forgot the price of freedom. Human ships maintained their vigilance, watching for threats to the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. The technology that had won the war was now used to protect the weak and ensure that no species would ever again face the choice between submission and extinction. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson about underestimating humanity. When pushed to the edge, humans didn't break. They evolved. They adapted. They became something greater than anyone had imagined possible, and they never forgot that freedom was worth any sacrifice to preserve. In the distance, stars shone with the light of a billion worlds where beings now chose their own destinies. The Council's reign of terror was over. The age of freedom had begun, and it was humanity that had made it possible.